What's up, everybody? It's Sweet Deat, and thanks for coming back to the channel. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're talking about Live Nation and their stock price literally soaring through the roof. We're going to talk about major label artists and subscription through Spotify. What does that actually pay out? Who's playing the Super Bowl this year? And so much more. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, I'm Sweet Deat, and if you're new here, we talk about all sorts of music trends and all sorts of business stuff as it relates to music, and I'm so glad you're here. If you learned something, please leave a little like. That really helps that YouTube algorithm, and if you really enjoy it, consider becoming a subscriber. Anyway, let's get to the news. Live Nation stock is soaring right now. Have you checked it out? Back in 2020, it started at around $72 a share in January. From a year ago, in 2019, it was up $50. And if you want to think about it from a broader perspective, go back to 2016 and it was only just a little over 20 bucks. In March of 2020, in the heat of the pandemic, it dropped all the way down to 20-something dollars a share again, the lowest it's been since 2016. And if I had half of a brain, I would have bought stock then. But then a whole bunch of negative press came out, and it was talking about how they were requiring artists to take a pay cut, and all the artists were essentially saying, no, we're not taking a pay cut. We'd rather just not play. And that kind of soured my opinion on buying stock at the time, and now I kind of wish I did. This past week, Live Nation stock has soared back to $78 a share, an all-time high. The great news is, if you're asking me, I think there's a lot more range for this to grow, because with people's over zealousness to get back and see a concert, as soon as this vaccine takes shape and everybody feels comfortable about going and seeing a concert next to someone in close proximity, I feel like their stock is going to take an even higher jump. So if you haven't gotten on the train yet, maybe it's worth considering. I don't know. I am not a stock analyst. Something tells me there might be something more up Live Nation's sleeve to really drive that stock price higher. So, pretty interesting, right? Here's some interesting news about Spotify and Anchor. Do you know what Anchor is? Let's talk about it. Anchor is a free platform for podcast creation, essentially, and Spotify bought it after it was only 4 months old for around $150 million. Apparently, they saw a lot of promise in this platform. Obviously, Spotify bought this because they're really trying to get into the podcasting game, and they're really trying to grab some market share, and they thought buying maybe something like Anchor would really help them get there faster. Specifically, with this purchase, Spotify was really after attracting indie type of podcasters. So not your big shows, but all the little small ones and the ones that sort of have their own flair and personality and maybe aren't already infiltrated with like sponsorships and stuff. It seems like sponsorships other than Anchor and Spotify are the only ones that are actually happening within the platform. It's supposed to bring in like all these other sponsors and really be diversified and everything, but it obviously seems like Spotify and Anchor are sort of throttling and maybe running people out of town on this one. That said, it seems like Spotify's goal of attracting indie podcasters to mainly host their content on their platform is failing. So more news on this as it comes around. So some Super Bowl performers were announced. That's pretty cool. Here's the latest on the Super Bowl front as to who's going to be singing your favorite patriotic songs. Eric Church and Jasmine Sullivan will be doing the national anthem. The singer Her, H-E-R, as many of you know, if you don't know, she's great. She will be doing America the Beautiful. And the main attraction this year for the halftime show, it's The Weeknd. And I'm sure there'll be other performers that jump in with them too, because that's usually how it seems to go these days. I remember the days when only one performer sort of had the spotlight. And, you know, the collaborations are kind of cool, but I do kind of miss the days where it was just Paul McCartney singing all of my favorite songs. But I do love The Weeknd too, so I'm anxious to see this performance. What about you? And for those who live in Georgia, I have a little news for you. Ed Roland has joined the ranks of so many famous people who have decided to sell their catalogs and their futures. The purchaser is Round Hill Music, and they have decided to strike a deal. How much money? I don't know. They haven't released the numbers yet, but it does include all 10 of Collective Soul's albums that they have released to date. As many people in Georgia know, there's a project that Ed Roland's had for a long time called the Sweet Tea Project that he releases music with intermittently. And I don't know if those songs and stuff are covered in this deal, but pretty awesome that Ed Roland's cashing out and making some money. Speaking of that glorious era of rock and roll music, go back and check out Counting Crows' August and Everything After. I've been listening to it for the last week, and it's been a really nice walk through memory lane, as many of those songs were very pivotal for me in the late 90s. So August and Everything After. And It Begins. One of my favorite drum intros ever. So simple, so perfect. And T-Bone Burnett produced the ever-living beep out of it. That's it for this episode. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.